today's project, I'm going to be taking the rear clip off of my Pontiac Fiero. There's the new clip. It's about 42 degrees outside, so woo! What are you going to do this winter? Should be mentioned that this whole video is going to be shot with my GoPro Hero 9. I've got the media mod on it. The reason why I'm opting to use this rather than my ZV-1 is simply because the Hero 9 has this cool time-lapse function where you hit record, and instead of you just recording the whole thing and then having to do a time-lapse in your video editing software, it does it automatically. You can pause the function and then it records normally. It's like you're pre-editing the video while it's in progress, while you're recording. So we'll see what it's like. Hopefully it works out well. And now we're on the Hero 9. So far so good. It seems okay. You can kind of see how I'm really dimly lit. Let me hit my light. Ooh, there we go. So let's get started. This should be fun. We're going to be removing the deck lid because it makes working around the area a bit easier. Now that I've taken the deck lid off and the vents out, you got two Phillips head screws to remove, there and there, which I've already taken off. Next up, I'm going to be removing that 10mm and that 10mm, and then I'll be removing the taillights. We've got two screws located at the bottoms of the inner quarter covers. I have 10mm located here. Here. Now take the taillights off and get the rest of the bolts that are hidden underneath them. You can clearly see we've got some 10mm bolts to remove here. There's a total of 6 of them. Now that all 6 of the bolts have been removed, the clip is loose. Next up, it's really easy. You just take the trunk gasket and just separate it. Just the areas in which it overlaps the rear clip. Now that all those portions are off, we're going to remove the rear lenses. You're going to need a T15 Torx drive bit, which looks like this. It's a little star. It's got 6 points on it. There's going to be 2 screws on either side that you have to remove. Of course, on mine, some are missing because this rear clip had some damage to it. Remove the side molding on both sides. There are plastic retainer clips that are located behind these. They will break when you remove these, especially if it's cold out, so be sure that you have replacements. Now you're going to want to open the gas flap, and you're going to want to remove the little 7mm screws. Now you just have to remove the gas flap cable. And there you have it. Pretty simple. You've got a 10mm there, there, and we actually have one that's missing. That should be right here, that's broken off. Open your doors and remove your sail clips. These are going to be a little tricky because they've got either plastic clips or metal. If you have a 1984 model, they're metal and they have nuts that you can only access from back here. Be sure you're careful. You don't want to break these. They're very difficult to replace. In my case, I've had these off before, so it doesn't take too much effort for me to remove them. You're going to need a flathead screwdriver or a pry bar just to gently remove that clip there so that you can then pull the sail clip out. With the sail panels removed, you got a 10mm screw located on either side of the car that you got to take off next. Don't forget about your clips that are located underneath in the wheel wells. Here's the tool that I use. It's just a simple panel retainer remover, and here's one of the clips. Now comes the really tricky part. To remove the headliner, you're going to have to remove the dome light, You've got the coat hanger clips, third brake light if you have a 1986 or newer Fiero. If you have the 84 or 85 model, you don't have one of those. The B pillars, which require a T47 Torx. There's one bolt at the top, one bolt at the bottom for the seat belt on either side. Also, the A pillars right here have to come out. Now the headliner is ready to come out. To remove the studs, which are located here, here, and here, you're going to have to undo the roof bolts, which are located here, 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 here. It's really tough to work in a Fiero compared to a Volkswagen Vanagon. It's so tight in here, it's no wonder I stopped driving it. Now that those bolts have all been removed, there's these little nuts on each of those studs that I had mentioned previously. And they're also 10mm. GM really liked metric. Meh. Oh boy. Now that all those bolts have been removed, you can't really remove the roof because it's all glued in place and we don't want to break the A pillars here. So I've got it all wedged with little bits of wood. You need about 2 inches of lift off of the roof in order to get those studs out. This could very easily be a one-person job, but when you got a second pair of hands available, it's a good idea to use them.
Where are we going?
Right over.
Oh, look, the Death Star.
Rear clip is removed. You can see where the studs go through. You can actually see where some of the gasket material has separated, so I'm going to put in a new weather barrier gasket. Well, apart from that little bit of flaking paint, I still have a rust-free Fiero. Love it. I've just got to lower the roof panel back on. New rear clip is in place. Relatively uneventful, apart from the event of it actually being on the Fiero. And there you have it. Rear clip is now back on. I still have the sail panels, inside sail panels, and deck lid vents, which I'm gonna wait on that stuff simply because I don't want to damage my paint, and because my Fiero is being stored, I don't really need it. Okay, one project down, many more to go.